our topic is going to be calculation of drug dosages. Now, this is actually what you have been ultimately preparing to get to for this entire last 3 weeks. Sometimes you will find that a drug is not in the proper dosage from what you're looking at that the doctor's orders are versus the medication you have on hand. It won't happen a lot, but it may happen, and this is why you have to be aware of it. So we'll start here. Take your instruction sheets that were attached, and it says oral dosages. Some of this, remember, you had in Med 103. It says the oral drugs are preferred for administration of medications because they're easy and convenient for the patient. They're absorbed through the gastrointestinal tract, but remember, for that reason, they're more slowly absorbed than something in the parenteral route, like your injections. Okay. Remember, oral medications are absorbed primarily in the small intestine. Some oral medications are irritating to the alimentary canal, fancy word for esophagus, throat, and must be given with meals or a snack or digestive system. So if a medication is bothersome to some patients, it would be taken with food, and sometimes even a medication may have to be kind of mashed up and put into food. Some people who have difficulty swallowing, elderly patients, may require this. So you're going to see some different things. Let's see, there's not too much more on there. You already know what pills are, but your second page just kind of gives you different examples of your capsules and pills. But what I want to point out is the second half of that second page, and it actually says page 6. Okay, sorry about that. It says page 6. It's a little bit different. Scoring a tablet is when you have a line through it. Some tablets may have to be cut in half, and it's with a little device. Actually, it looks like, if you haven't seen it, it kind of looks a little bit like a razor blade that just comes down and you push down on the handle and cuts your pill in half. However, some need to be literally ground up. So that's what these two things are. You're looking at on your paper, mortar and pestle. You're really just grinding up a pill to make it a very, very fine consistency. Or a pill crusher. It's a type of little piece of equipment that you just bring the handle on, down on. Kind of think of it maybe like a garlic press, where the top part comes together to reach the bottom and what's in between gets crushed. Same type of thing. All right. So these are for your oral tablets. Okay. The other thing that we will be talking about is liquids. All right. So your liquids are a little bit more confusing if there's figuring out how much to give, if there's a difference in the type of metric measurement that you're being told to use versus what you have on hand. However, once you get used to understanding how to get the proper dosage, you'll be fine. A couple things I want to show you about liquids is that most of the time, I'm sure everybody's familiar with the little dosing cup. Okay, in fact, I have one here. If you use any kind of cough medicine or something, this is typically enclosed. And when you look at it, I'm sure you can't see here, but I have household measurements on one side. Like this says tablespoons, teaspoons. When I turn it, it gives me milliliters, ml, 3.0, 2.0, 1.5, 1. cc's. We learned way back last time in Med 103 that a cc is equal to a milliliter. And I think you also had it when we talked about the metric system last week. A cc is the same thing as an ml. Okay. This particular one has ounces as well. So you can see there's all kinds of labels on this that go from metric to household. Okay. The picture here is telling you that if you are going to use a liquid measurement and you're pouring something, make sure that the cup is set down on a tabletop. Don't hold it and pour, because your hand can sway a little bit and you may not be pouring exactly the correct amount. For infants, and again sometimes for adults, older adults, you may have to use instead a syringe, or even for infants, a medicine dropper. I have a syringe here, and same thing. You are going to see that for syringes, they're going to give you household measurements on one side, half a teaspoon down to 2 teaspoons, versus your mLs. Starts with 2.5, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10 ml. Then it corresponds. 2 teaspoons is 10 ml. 1 teaspoon, 5 ml. You learned that last week, that 1 teaspoon was equal to 5 ml. All right. These come in, you will have to use these. So I'm going to put this down for a minute, and I'm just going to demonstrate. Let's pretend this is your bottle of liquid cough syrup, if you will, okay? What you have to do, if you haven't used this already, and ideally this would be sitting down on a table, so let's pretend I have it on a flat surface. I just don't have that capability to do it right now. You would then insert this dropper into your liquid medicine bottle, and you would pull up on the stopper until you're putting your the very front, the beginning of this dropper down into the liquid, and then you pull up, and you can see, like I just pulled right up to the 1 teaspoon line. And I'm actually, typically I go a little bit past it. And then what happens, when you hold it upright, it's a little bit past the 1 teaspoon level. What I would do, and I have no idea where this is going to go, is I would push up. I would push the stopper and make sure that I get right to my 5 ml. If that's what I wanted to give, I'm actually sitting at 6 ml right now. So I would push it up. I'm going to hold it over the glass here. And I'm going to push up. There I go. Now I'm right at the 5 ml. No, actually I'm not yet. Now I am. And then you can take this medication and you can place it under, typically into the back of the mouth of a patient. So either like a geriatric patient or an infant, you just kind of push it into the side of their mouth and then release this slowly so they don't start choking until your entire medication is out. Okay, so that's how those are used. I think everybody's pretty familiar with how to use the dosing cup, all right? And that's typically for adults using the dosing cup, okay? All right, now back to my paper. I think I splattered a little on my board. Okay, all right, so that was page 7 in your handout. Let's go to page 8, and that's the beginning, the actual beginning of the calculation of drug dosages. All right, so you can see that there's a label here. They're showing you the label that is on the medication. All right, and the whole idea of this, again, is because sometimes you'll have an order, physician's order, that's in one strength of measurement, but the drug that you have is another strength of measurement. So you have to be able to convert from one to the other. And that's milligrams to grams. Typically, that is the most often used, okay? So I'm gonna give myself a little bit of room here. Yeah. My whiteboard is not erasing well. Okay. All right. So, looking at page 8, the first example says, the physician orders ampicillin 0.5 grams PO by mouth 4 times a day. The drug is supplied in 250 milligram capsules. So the doctor's saying give 0.5, a half of a gram. but you have 250 milligrams. How many capsules will you administer? All right, here is where you need the proportion. Remember, on the left side of the proportion is always what you know. On the right side of the portion is what you don't know, trying to find. All right, so what do we know about grams and milligrams? We know that 1,000 milligrams is equal to 1 gram. We know that. What we don't know, our problem said 0.5 grams is how many milligrams. That's what we don't know. We're looking for milligrams. So X is our milligrams, and we know that we have 0.5 grams. All right, as with all of our proportions, what do? First thing, make sure it's milligrams first on the left side, milligrams first on the right side. Grams are second, grams are second. They have to be the same order. Then you can get rid of them, make it easier to see. 1,000 is to 1, just as X is to 0.5. Multiply the means, multiply the extremes. You're going to make sure they're the same. The X always stays on the left, so 1X is equal to 1,000 times 0.5. This is already X. If you multiply 1,000 times 0.5, you are going to get 500. You're looking for milligrams, label it milligrams. So now we know that 500 milligrams is the same as 0.5 grams. All right. Okay, I don't know, my pen is starting to run out. Okay, this should say 500. It's not saying anything right now. There we go, 500. How many capsules? Because we're not finished yet. Now you know you have to give 500 milligrams. But what you don't know is how many capsules are you supposed to give. So looking back at your label, it says these capsules are 250 milligrams each. Okay, 250 milligrams each. You want to give 500. This is where common sense, logic, and basic addition come in. The pages are actually going to show you another proportion to tell you how many capsules to give. I am quite sure that all of you can figure out that if one pill is 250 milligrams and you have to give 500 milligrams, you're simply going to give 2 pills. And the easiest way to do that, you know that the 250 milligrams, so 250 is one capsule. A second capsule gives you your 500. Therefore, you're going to give 2 capsules. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's really pretty simple. Now, if you are someone that, I don't know, just that basic idea of how many do I give is not something that you're understanding, then there is actually another proportion that you can do. My question is, do you really want to do that? If it's not logical to you how we got the 2 capsules, then page 9 shows you what your next step would be. It says, now that the order and the drug are in the same strength of measurements, which is milligrams, you can figure out, if you're not doing the 250 plus 250 is 500, again, you can do another proportion. What you know versus what you're trying to find. What do you know now? You know that 250 milligrams is 1 capsule. What you're trying to figure out, 1 capsule, we don't want to make it look like a cup. What you don't know is how many capsules were given. You know you want to give 500 milligrams. Okay, so you can put that in. But you don't know how many capsules you're giving. So now you have a proportion. Again, milligrams first on this side, capsule second on the left, capsule second on the right. Get rid of your abbreviations. And solve means to extremes. Your x on the left, 250x equals 1 times 500, which is 500. Okay, we need 1x, so we're going to divide by 250. We do one side, we do both sides. X equals, if you divide 500 by 250, you are going to get 2. There's your 2 capsules. All right, this is if you really, really want to be more proactive with the proportions, but if you know and you can do in your head that 500 milligrams is simply 2 capsules, because on your label it said 250 milligrams a capsule. If you're going to give 500 milligrams, you're just going to give 250 plus 250 is 500. You're going to give the 2 capsules. Okay? All right. Example 2. I'm still on page 9. All right. Example 2. The physician orders aspirin, 975 milligrams. Okay, I'm going to put that down here. 975 milligrams. That's how much the doctor wants. 4 times a day by mouth. Aspirin, 325 milligram tablets are available. How many tablets will you give? All right, this is already the same. Your metric values are the same. You don't have to do any kind of proportion. You should be able to simply say, because there's no equivalence, we're milligrams to milligrams, there's no grams, there's nothing, they're both the same. If you know that 1 tablet is 325 milligrams, you say, okay, that's 1 tablet. Let's add a second tablet. That's going to give me 650. Okay, not quite where I want to be. Let's add a 3rd tablet. This is this. So I'm going to give the patient 3 tablets. 3 times 325 milligrams gives you the 975. That is the very easy way to do it. However, if you're not seeing this, if you're not, making sense that you can either add or multiply to get that same number, then you would do the proportion. And just like on your instruction sheet, right at the bottom of 9, you're going to make a proportion what you know versus what you're trying to find. All right, what do you know? You know from the label that 1 tablet is 325 milligrams. Okay, so let's write that. 1 tablet is to 325 milligrams. What are you trying to find? Well, we know we want 975 milligrams, so we don't know how many tablets we want. So X tablets is the same as 975 milligrams. Milligrams was second on the left, milligrams has to be second on the right. Get rid of your abbreviations, and you end up with 1 is to 325, just as X is to 975. Multiply, means and extremes. Put your X on the left. 325X is equal to 1 times 975, which is 975. Divide by 325. Do it on both sides. And X, when you divide 325 into 975, even if you use your calculator, you're going to get 3. Okay? You could do it this way if you wanted to double check yourself. But again, if you know 325 is what each tablet is worth, and you want 975 of the same metric dosage, then all you have to do is keep adding another pill. 2 pills, that would give me the 650. Now it's not enough. All right, how about if I try 3 pills? And you can add or multiply, it doesn't matter. Aha, yes, 325 times 3 is 975. I'm just gonna give the patient 3 pills, okay? All right, whichever is easiest for you. All right, one more example. This is not on your instruction sheet, so just kind of go along with me here. If you want to write it down, you can. A doctor orders Tegretol 0.2 grams, 0.2 grams, 3 times a day for a patient's epilepsy. But the drug is supplied in 100 milligram tablets. Okay, these are not the same. You do need to do a proportion, all right? So, what you know goes on the left-hand side. What do you know about milligrams and grams? You know that 1,000 milligrams is equal to 1 gram. Just as, on the right side, what are we trying to find? We're trying to find how many milligrams, we don't know the milligrams, we know grams. X milligrams is equal to the 0.2 gram. Okay? Get rid of your abbreviations. 1,000 is to 1, just as X is to 0.2. Multiply. 1 times X, 1X. Your ends, 1,000 times 0.2. X is equal to 200. You do this out on the calculator. 1,000 times 0.2, or you have 3 zeros, right? You can take 0.2 and move it to the right, the number of zeros you have. 1, 2, 3. Make sure you put in some O's to hold the place. And now you have 200. Remember, you don't need that one in front of the 200. Okay? 200 milligrams. Now, okay, so the dose you want to give is 200 milligrams. If the tablets come as 100 milligrams, how many tablets are you going to give of 100 milligrams to make 200 milligrams? You're going to give 100 milligrams plus 100 milligrams. You are going to give 2 tablets. Okay? Basic math. I don't think anybody has trouble with the 100 plus 100. All right? That's the easier part. Now we're going to talk about liquid medications. That's a little bit tougher.